it right or wrong?
And
Why
do you mind if
would
I
it change?
ask you what you believe and why? Record it.
What I believe
And
in.
why? Yeah, about the flat Earth.
A lot in the Old Testament is true. A lot in the Old Testament is true. The Old Testament, a lot is true. Some Bibles have been adjusted. They've adjusted it, but the Old Testament, there's a lot of truth.
Do you mind?
Yeah, I don't mind.
Tell me why you believe in the fact that the Earth is flat and not a globe.
Well, initially I didn't believe, so I had to try and know, and so I went to investigate it because, I actually tried to debunk it when I was going into it because I said what this guy told me was ridiculous, and I thought he was fanatical. So I looked into it and I dig deeper, and actually the first person I came across was Math Powerland. Now Math Powerland is a bit rough in terms of delivering the flat Earth message and stuff. But this guy is a brilliant artist, fantastic artist. I mean, he was taught by the Roman Council and stuff. He went to a special school and all this and stuff. And he got recruited by NASA to actually paint photorealistic image of the Earth. So he was on the team what actually made the paintings of the Earth. And he had this joke where he painted a t-shirt and took a picture and had a picture of the Earth. He had a picture and he had a painting. And he would go around with a statement saying, is this a photo or a painting? And he asked people. And people would say, oh, it's a photo, it's a photo, it's a photo, because it looked photorealistic. And he would tell them it's a painting because he painted it. He painted for NASA. And basically, he was at a thing and he said that at a meeting with all these NASA people, and they said, they laughed and said, oh, do you know the Earth is flat? To see his reaction, and he was kind of bewildered by it. And then after that, he got kind of ostracized for it. Well, anyway, he was the man who got me into it. And then other characters like Jeranism and Eric Dubay start coming out with these other facts. And then I start digging into it a bit deeper. And then the question about water finding its level.
Yeah.
Like this bowl, I could turn this way.
Yeah.
We'll always go and find its level. It doesn't matter which way I point it. We'll find its level. And that's a real world truth.
Mine does as well. Yeah.
Yours too,
But what about the fact that the centre of the Earth is the actual core of the Earth, so it's all going to be
no
that?
one has ever. And when you start digging into this, you go, okay, what about the magma and all the Earth and the magnetic centre and stuff like? You go, okay, let me look into that. And then you find out the deepest they ever dug is like 8 miles in Russia. They haven't been past the crust properly.
Yeah, the crust is very thin. What about the images from
speculation.
NASA space
station?
Like the famous Earthrise image where you see the Earth rising from behind the sun.
It's so ridiculous because personally, I've been in graphics and video editing and post-production, special effects and all that for over 25 years. Yeah, I know all the softwares, I know all the tricks. Now, they had problems with that.
You know the image I'm talking about, yeah?
Where it's like come from night to day and all the...
No, you see the moon, surface of the moon,
Yeah.
and then you see the Earth rising from the from the horizon of the moon.
It's the wrong size anyway.
Huh?
It's the wrong size. If the Earth is like the size of the Earth compared to the size of the moon, it's totally different from if you were standing on the Earth and if you're standing on the moon. You see the size of the moon.
Yeah.
From our perspective, it's like this.
Yeah.
And Earth is a lot bigger than the moon.
Yeah.
So if you're standing on the moon, the Earth should look ginormous when you're looking at it rising from that distance.
Yeah.
The distance hasn't changed.
So even that's a basic mistake. If they're going to try and fake it, they'll make a
total mistake.
They'll get the distances and the perspective right.
The Earth should be at least 3 times bigger than what you see in that image.
Is it?
And that's something we wouldn't even think about because we overlooked it because we take everything what we've been given.
Because that image was taken from where?
Supposedly from the lunar surface.
But I heard people say it can't be because the lunar surface is in tidal lock with the Earth, so the Earth wouldn't rise like that. It's not rotating in its axis.
There's many.
But it was actually taken from Apollo 11, which is in a spaceship in orbit around the moon. That's why it's still rising as it come over towards that side of the moon.
Another thing what prompted me for it was that a NASA scientist clearly said that we've never left the Earth's atmosphere because of the Van Allen belt.
Right.
And something which is a radiation field which goes all the way around the Earth, which we cannot penetrate.
So what about them landers, them on
They're not
Mars?
there.
They've got Curiosity one there at the moment. They've got
They're
the
not there.
Opportunity one.
They're not there.
They've got the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter.
Not there.
Why would they spend all this money launching a rocket, yeah, and people can watch it from all around the world, and it's not actually going anywhere?
Well, they got to actually perpetuate the myth.
Why? Why would they perpetuate this myth? What's the point?
Remember, there's a transition where from people, everybody did believe that the Earth was flat,
Yeah.
or whatever, or not a ball, and geocentric, let's say, to this transition when Plato and Pythagoras and all, you know, that school of thought in Egypt, which changed the whole school of thinking and turned into a globular idea, which they started to push. Why would they push that?
Yeah.
Why would they have that kind of agenda? Now, let's just look at the fact of that format that you believe in, that you live on this Earth, which is in a solar system, which is going around the sun, which is flying through a galaxy, which is going through a cosmos, infinitely, which is infinitely expanded.
Yeah. From the Big Bang, yeah.
From the Big Bang. What is your relevance in the whole grand scheme of that?
What's my relevance?
I mean, what is your value in the whole scheme of that?
I'm
You're
a part-
insignificant.
I'm a part of it. I mean,
You're-
I'm made out of the
what
same
is-
elements that
in
formed.
size. I mean, in scale.
Yeah.
How much of a part of it are you?
Yeah.
You know, how significant are you?
I'm a small part of it. Yeah.
How small are we talking?
Oh, you said about 0.00000%. I mean, life on this planet, the biological life on this planet, yeah, is on a thin film around a thin crust of a planet, which is one of billions of other planets.
That's right. Yeah. So you're just part of this.
I know it feels bad, but it's the truth, isn't it?
It feels bad.
Yeah, it
doesn't
feels
I'm glad
insignificant.
you said
Yeah.
that because I preferred you said that it feels bad.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what it's meant to do.
Yeah.
Because now, if you take from my perspective that it's a geocentric system, we're not the infinite. We are everything.
But it could feel bad, but it could in effect be wonderful, you know, it could be amazing.
We would no. You know you're bad. You know? You can live in a denial and stuff like that, say that you're everything, but you know you're 0,000. But what I'm saying, in my perspective, we are everything,
You're everything.
and therefore we are greater than great. And then it installs a different feeling in you, and you have a different
They
mindset.
say there are some people who may believe in God and we are everything. God created us as His
Maybe,
perfect
I don't
being
know. I
to
don't
worship
know.
Him.
All the
So-
answers are not there, so I'm not going to say, oh.
But you're appealing to emotion, though. 'Cause I mean,
I'm not appealing to emotion.
You can take your phone, yeah,
Yeah.
and you
on
can.
YouTube?
Yes.
Which
yeah.
one is it?
London Black Atheist. London Black Atheist. I could phone someone now, Skype them in Australia,
Yeah, that's good.
and you can see that it's night time there, and you ask them what time is it, and they'll say like it's 4 o'clock in the morning, you know. And how would that work? I mean, it's obviously like at New Year's Eve, you see like the celebrations going up in Sydney, in Hong Kong, and around the world. And
You
all
need
that.
to understand the motion and the geography of the place we live.
How do you get night in a different part of a flat Earth?
I can tell you.
Okay.
I mean, the simplest explanation for you to understand, which you can relate to, is something like the yin and yang symbol.
Yeah.
You know, it's got the swirl, black and white, and it's got a white circle and a black circle.
Yeah.
If you was to rotate that round, well, the shadow will be the nighttime, the white bit will be the daytime.
Yeah.
And that's the basic movement all the way. It spins round. They meet. They rotate like this. They dance around the world like that.
Yeah.
That's how you get 24-hour sunlight in the Arctic Circle.
Yeah.
Because it's the circular motion of the sun. It never sets. It just moves away in a spiral.
Yeah.
And it spirals out and spirals in. They spiral out and spiral in. And that's how you get the seasons as well.
Yeah. Now let's look at this. Can I show you this? Yeah. Let's look at this here.
Yeah.
That. You see like a the Earth,
Yeah.
and it says this is not how water behaves. So like water falling on the Earth will fall off the bottom.
Yes.
And that to me is nonsense because the Earth is the centre of the gravity of the Earth is the actual core of the Earth. So therefore the water sticks to the actual surface of it.
It's magnetic in the centre.
No,
yeah?
it's the gravitational pull.
Gravitational
Yeah,
pull is pulling inwards.
It's pulling it. Yeah, it's like each mass.
Yes.
No matter how big it has a sense of gravity. Yeah. That's why the Earth rotates around the moon rotates around the Earth, and it pulls the water, causing the tides twice a day.
And we move around the sun.
And we move down the sun. Yeah. And all
Is
the planets.
is the sun gravitational pull bigger than the Earth?
Yes, yes.
Earth and the moon.
Yeah.
So why aren't we sucked into the sun?
Because we're rotating at a speed which gives us an orbit where we're constantly falling to it, yeah. But the speed is causing that the centrifugal force, which is pushing us away,
Pushing us
equals
away.
the amount of gravity pulling us in.
And the centrifugal force is not pulling us in.
No, centrifugal forces. There, you know, if you're in a roundabout and you're at the end, you're going to be flown out, yeah.
But we are water is on the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So therefore we're dealing with a different force. It's not the centrifugal force, it's the centrifugal force. It's the outside
Yeah.
of an object and not the inside.
Yeah, but
of
see, it's
it.
been pulled towards the inside of the object because that's the gravity.
any
the object.
any object on the outside of an object which is rotational will be thrown off outwards. There's nothing containing it. And you're talking about a containment field of a merry-go-round ride where the seats, the barrier is holding you and pushing you against something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So therefore, it's not going to fly off because that object, that solid object, is containing it. Just like these walls are containing the water. Yeah. It's contained.
From my understanding of physics, though, that diagram doesn't make any sense at all. You know, it's
Which
like
one?
this one here with the water falling off the bottom of the Earth. It's like why don't people in Australia fall off the bottom? You know, that's some kind of argument they used to have in the Victorian time until we understood about
if
gravity.
you pour water in a ball, if it doesn't make sense, if you pour water in a ball, what happens?
On a ball,
Yeah.
a ball doesn't have the gravity to hold
No,
water.
no,
on it.
let's remove gravity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just imagine it doesn't exist
Yeah.
on a ball, on a football, which it doesn't.
Yeah.
If you poured water on a ball, what would
It
happen?
will fall off the bottom.
That's what that is.
But like I said,
So this
it's
is an image of a thing which has no gravity.
no, but the gravity of the
You're
planet
saying
Earth.
there's gravity. That's the
Yeah.
problem why you can't understand the image. If you remove that ideology of gravity, which they are stating here, yeah, that is the effect of what would happen.
Right, have you got Sky TV at home? Have you got TV, satellite TV?
Yeah.
Right, they've got geostationary satellites in orbit. They've got thousands of satellites in orbit,
Yeah.
orbiting
Okay.
around the world, yeah?
Yeah.
And they're staying because the gravity, they had the escape velocity to get them in space, and they're going at a certain speed, maybe 10,000 miles an hour,
Yeah.
but they're not flying up into space because the gravity is holding them to the space like the International Space Station is, you know?
Do you believe that?
Well, you see it, you know?
There's over 1,000, I think there's 2,400 satellites actually to be precise. We never see any of them like pepper in the sky when they're moving around the sky. We never see any of them when any rocket launches fly up or they're
Well, you
doing
can
they're orbiting flybys of the Earth or whatever.
You can see the International Space Station with your bare eyes. They show where it's going to be at a certain time, and you can see it going across the sky.
You see an object, I don't know what it is.
If you get binoculars, and you can see the actual simple binoculars, you can actually see it. You can see the actual units of it.
You see an object very high up. That's what you see. I don't know what it is. You know, that's what
It's not aerodynamic, so it's not using the air to fly.
We are digging into beliefs there because this is what they told us. So let's stick with what we really know. Yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to be disrespectful. I just got a lot of questions to ask.
No,
you know?
it's fine.
And
It's fine. I'm not being disrespectful as well. I'm just trying to really trying to nail you home on what you really actually know and what you've been told. You understand? And I like to go with what I know, and I know how water behaves. I understand that density and buoyancy are the main ingredients to things flying up in the air and things being held down to the ground. Yeah, because there's loads of things which defy gravity, like a helium balloon, butterfly, or whatever, and yet the oceans are being held by this supreme force. Why are we not pinned to the ground since we are part of it? Okay, we don't have enough mass. Is that
well, if you jump up, you fall back down at 9.8 meters per second, squared,
because
at ground level. If you go up further,
velocity, terminal velocity. But the thing is, this is to do with density, and buoyancy. And if the gravity does exist, yeah, in the laws of physics and the natural worlds of science, every action has an opposite reaction, every force has an opposite force. Whereas the anti-gravity, they've never discovered it yet. There should be a negative measurement of the gravitational field of this Earth, which we should be able to harness
if we manage to discover that, we can build an anti-gravity
well,
machine.
they haven't.
And
why haven't they? It's very, I mean, it's a long time. But beyond that, let's take it even further. Then we look at things like the grand unification theory. Before I even knew anything about this, I knew about the grand unification theory. I was into Higgs boson and quantum physics and all that a long time before I even got into this.
Have you heard of the Greek scientist
Aristophanes?
Aristophanes, yeah.
Yes, but his experiment could be done on a flat surface as well. Yeah. So it doesn't matter.
But how did he have a stick in a ground in Siwa, I think it was, yeah? And he had
the same experiment,
a shadow, and then in Alexandria had no shadow.
The same experiment can work on the same model on a flat surface.
But that's on the same time of the year, midday. One stick had a shadow, the other one had no shadow.
Yeah, it's just the way the light is positioned in the air, and you can repeat that on a flat surface and a curved surface.
So he was wrong. Yeah, he said that was wrong.
Yeah,
what about people like Galileo, Copernicus,
Copernicus
like
is
Hubble,
a
people like that.
disgusting man, and he stole some of his knowledge from the Arabs actually. There's a clue in the diagram on the book what he's holding. I think it's called a Philosophica Principle. I can't remember what it's called. It has something to do with scientific principle. I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, but basically, he was the one who tried to come with this idea where heliocentric phenomenon and stuff like that. Aristotle was good at some part because he was the first man to actually deal with natural sciences and deal with real science, meaning dissecting real things and dealing with real objects and stuff like that. Plato dealt with other things which were more abstract, platonic solids and stuff like that, and brought in other ideologies. There was two schools, remember. There was the Lyceum and the Academy. And the Academy School of Thought won the whole thing, which they all came from Pythagoras and stuff like that. And basically, Pythagoras came up with the curvature ideology, how to calculate curvature. But beyond that,
Pythagoras to do with triangles and stuff.
Triangle, yeah, Pythagoras theorem. Well, as well as that, you can work out curvature as well. How to square a circle and stuff like that. But basically, yeah, what's his name? Plato, their school won, Academy became the dominant force, and they pushed through the globe ideology. Aristotle took it on board, but he still was a bitter man and whatnot. It was a Greek ideology which was studied in Athens and in Alexandria as well, in the great schools and stuff like that. But beyond that, before that, the whole world ideologies was based on a plane of existence. From China to Mexico and whatnot, blah blah. They're not wrong, you know. They're not wrong. Extreme change for a reason, and the reason is why we're all here thinking like this still, where we can't really just look at water and say.
Are there other planets globes then as well?
What planets are planetariums? I can't remember the real term of it. I think it's a Greek term which really breaks down to wandering stars, and basically they are wandering stars.
Now, as soon as it gets dark, yeah, the brightest star in the sky you'll see is actually Venus. It's our closest planet, yeah? And it's roughly the same size as Earth. You can get a good telescope and you can see it, yeah? You can see the clouds on it and stuff like that.
You can see the clouds?
On Venus, yeah.
You've seen the clouds with your eyes?
No, I've seen telescopes. They have the Astronomer Society in Regent's Park. You can go, they've got the telescopes there every Wednesday, once a month, and you can go and look at their fantastic telescopes. And you can see things like...
I've been in their building before.
Yeah, you can see stuff like... it's very good stuff, interesting stuff, and I find it's really fascinating.
Well, people are starting to film with their basic camera and actually getting other images of what stars look like.
Yeah. Now talk about the planet, the closest planet, Venus.
Planets and stars.
And Mars, for instance.
Well, planets are stars, they're just wandering stars, they're moving stars.
Yeah.
Other stars are just fixed stars. They call them planets. If you look up the word planet,
Wait,
and
planet
the
and
etymology of planet, and you'll see it will go into wandering
That's
star.
where the name comes from, yeah. But a planet is obviously a ball of rock, yeah, or gas like Jupiter and Saturn.
That's
Whereas a star is a ball of burning nuclear fusion reactor.
no. A planet is a moving star. It's a wandering star. It's something which moves as it moves in a circular motion or whatever.
Well, you know, in the first planetary probe they sent out, they were the Voyager ones, yeah, and they went past Jupiter and Saturn and Uranus and Neptune. There's some beautiful pictures of it. Okay.
Yeah. Very cool 1970s illustrations.
No, there were actually pictures. I've got one book called The Planets, and it shows the actual pictures of them from the actual satellite.
I can do one like that for you
No.
if you need. I have the technology now.
But why would you go? And all this like you watch Brian Cox. You got The Sky at Night. It's been running for so long.
He used to be in a great disco band.
No, but why would people have all these people all around the world, all astronomers from all over the world,
Yeah.
spending millions of pounds trying to?
Like Neil deGrasse Tyson.
It'd be much harder to
Have you
maintain.
seen? He's an actor.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah, he's got IBMD. Check him out. He's
He's
an
a science
actor.
communicator. Yeah, I've
He's
seen
an
quite of his
actor.
videos and stuff like
He's
that.
an actor. And there's a lot of actors. I mean, I've seen real physicians, physicists, and other people, engineers, challenge this.
But-
Lord Cavendish proved about gravity and to the finest detail.
Well, like you said before, on a scale of 1 to 100,
Yeah.
and 100% to mean you're absolutely convinced that the world is flat, so 1% is not really convinced.
My 100% conviction is that we are not living on a ball or a disco ball. In terms of what shape it is and what it is, I don't know.
Maybe if you brought that down to 99%, it'll give you time to falsify your belief and test out your theories, because you might be wrong, you know? I could be wrong, it's good to know.
A ball, I'm not wrong. It's definitely not a ball. Yeah, it's definitely not a ball. Anything else could be a triangle for I know.
I know you're a skeptic person, yeah? You're a skeptical person, yeah?
Yeah.
So
It's not a ball.
if you can be 100% convinced that it's a ball, yeah? How would you be able to know or find out if you were wrong? If you're not willing to test that theory?
How would I know that it's wrong?
Yeah, how would you know that your hypothesis is wrong?
I would have to see evidence.
Yeah.
And
So be open to evidence, that's what I'm saying.
I'll be open to evidence. I mean, the behaviour is not proven any evidence. Before I knew it, like I said, if I look back in my past and I look at my photographs, I look at my video footage, what I filmed on planes when I looked out the window with my DSLR. It's like this all the time, and I'm right up there. I like filming the clouds and stuff. You know, I like filming the flying. I used to do it all the time, so I filmed it before I even knew about this flyer. So when I digged up those footage, I go, wow. When I'm on top of the Alps and I'm looking, I can see France, Italy, Germany from the peak I am in Austria.
What about that private businessman, Elon Musk? You said that
He knows what's wrong.
he said rockets up into space, yeah?
What, he said their car.
He said the car, and you can see the curvature of
So
the
you
Earth.
believe
and
the
that.
car's up in space? Do you really believe
Yeah,
that?
it's on its way to the
Is that
Mars.
not a slap to your intelligence?
Does it seem like it's a fake to you then, yeah? Why would he spend all that money?
Inflated rubber tyres going through the thermosphere. How hot is the thermosphere?
Yeah.
Go and Google it. How hot it is.
Maybe they're not inflated rubber tyres. Maybe they're like some other material.
No, they're not.
built-
they're
it's
rubber.
built to go- it's built
a
to
car.
last in space.
It's a straight car.
You're gonna have inflated rubber tyres in a vacuum. They're gonna explode, aren't they?
Thank you.
So obviously they're not
Thank
inflated
you.
rubber, are they?
They are.
Because that would be basic science. Any science engineer will know that's not gonna work.
Everybody knows it.
Yeah.
That's why people are doing these experiments with a rubber glove
Yeah.
in a vacuum, exploding.
Exactly. So maybe they
Yeah.
use something else in it. They use solid tyres. It's not gonna be a roadworthy car.
Plastic.
They're gonna rip
Plastic dashboard.
Yeah. They're gonna rip everything out and just have something which looks like a car and stuff like that. You know, just
believe- you
it's just
truly
for
believe that?
PR stuff, wasn't it?
And there was sound coming out. Oh, is that sound just played back from the space Hubble, their ship? I don't know.
Oh, the music.
Yeah. That was
Obviously, you're not going to get music in space because there's no air.
glad
Yeah?
you- I'm glad
so they
you-
added the music to the.
How do you get thrust
to
in
the video?
space?
Yeah.
How do you get thrust?
How do
in
you get
space?
thrust?
Yes, thrust.
Well, if you have a projectile coming out the back of a rocket, yeah,
yes.
and every action has an equal and opposite reaction.
How you understand what sound is?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
What is it?
It's the vibration of air waves, you know.
Yeah,
Moving it.
refraction and compression
Yeah.
of air,
Yeah.
dispersion of air.
Yeah.
You're compressing and expanding.
Yeah.
But it needs something it needs air in order to make that happen.
So you
That
tell me a
is-
rocket will not work in a vacuum?
the vacuum's devoid of everything, air. You can't even light a candle in a vacuum. If you blew a fan in a vacuum, nothing will happen. They've done experiments on YouTube.
So if nothing would burn in a vacuum,
Yeah.
how does the sun burn in a vacuum?
The sun burning in a vacuum,
Yeah.
we don't know.
The sun is nuclear fusion, so there's
Well,
way-
so they say.
Yeah.
You know, so they say. Remember, this theory is totally different. So there's another thing about it which you must understand.
But the rocket has liquid nitrogen, also liquid kerosene, liquid whatever.
It stays in this
so
it stays in this atmosphere.
It forms a combustible material.
But remember what I said. It's a geocentric ideology.
My brother, my message today is let's get together and feel alright.
All right, cool, man.
I love you.
I love you too, man. Fantastic.
So let's say the vacuum, the geocentric ideology of this is that basically there's a firmament, a dome, and the sun and the moon is contained within this dome. It's
Oh, you
not-
believe in the dome theory?
that's what they say.
The dome, like
The dome-
a solid firmament around the earth.
Well, we're breathing air, aren't we not?
You know what? This is fantastic. I've never heard this before.
But are we breathing air?
Yes.
Okay. Is space a vacuum?
Space is a vacuum, yes.
What is dividing the air from the vacuum without a solid barrier?
Well,
Is it possible?
The further you go up, you get less and less
there's-
air. You go to the top of a mountain, there's less air. So even if you're on a plane, there's less air. And if you further go out into space, there's less air. So,
So
the air,
it's a gradual
yes, gradual depletion of the air
so
amount.
it becomes a vacuum.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
It's a gradient.
Yeah.
You
Like
think
on the
you
moon,
can
for instance, there's no
you
air.
think that is synthesizable in an experiment on Earth, on a smaller scale? Because you can create vacuums in
Yeah, you can put vacuum tubes over here and here.
over here.
Yeah.
But can you do a gradient vacuum tube on this Earth? In
Yeah.
a controlled environment.
Yeah, this is massive vacuum tube in NASA have it.
A
to test.
gradient one.
Yeah, they can
where
take-
you're
They pump the air out gradually. They pump the air out till eventually they measure how much air is in there.
okay.
Whatever.
No, I'm talking like you're in this chamber, which is the environment. And down on the ground you have air,
Yeah.
and up at the top you have vacuum.
All right. We need to have a source of artificial gravity for that, then, isn't it? Really. But if you
you
got,
think that's
if there's
possible?
a chamber on this Earth, yeah, up at the top of Mount Everest, there's less air than there is on the ground. So that kind of proves the theory that there's more air.
No, it
The
just
closer
means that
you-
there's less air. It doesn't mean that it's a vacuum.
But the closer you get to the source of the gravity, the gravitational pull of the Earth,
There's more
you'll
trees down there.
You'll have more air down here. But the further you get away from the source of the gravity, which is the core of the Earth, then you have less air.
Trees. There's more trees down there than on top of Mount Everest.
Yeah.
So, they kind of contribute to the oxygen process. So that might be a contribution to that ideology. What I'm saying is no vacuum.
If you went to a desert where there's no trees, you still have the same amount of oxygen as you go to a forest.
Yeah,
It's
but
full
we're
of trees.
still we have a different, remember there's different levels of atmospheres where we live in terms of the densities. And like I said, the thermosphere is the hottest part of it. And then you come down to where we are in the lower atmospheres where it's globally, if you want to use the word globally, or geocentrically, on the same plane.
The thermosphere is the hottest part of the atmosphere.
Yeah,
What you
that's
said.
what I'm saying.
But when you go up in a plane, it's like minus 70 up there.
Yeah, and you go up higher, you get to the thermosphere, which is a lot. That's where you have what's it called when supposedly things come into the Earth's atmosphere. You see like comets,
Burn up, yeah.
not comets. What do you call meteorites?
Meteorite,
burning up,
yeah.
burning up, and stuff like that coming through that region there.
Yeah.
So I mean, some of it is correct, but it's a mix of truths and lies.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I threw out all science out the window. It's just that I'm revisiting science and I'm shuffling it out to see what's working, what's
Yeah.
real, what's not real. Then you have gyroscopes, which are independent of gravity.
Yeah.
If you have a gyroscope, if you spun a gyroscope at your home via a motor, 24 hours, and timed it, and had a marker on it, and see if it moved.
Yeah.
That will prove that we're not moving, and the Earth is not like some curvaceous object which rotates.
Yeah. All I can say, I've got to go now. I'm going to get some more
Yeah.
in. But keep your mind open, you know.
My mind's open.
Don't be 100% convinced about one thing, because you might miss an opportunity to learn something. You might be wrong, you know, or you might be right. I'm going to investigate it. I've been studying science for 30 odd years. You know what I mean?
I come from a scientific background, but like I said, I don't think I'm not open to change, even if I said 100%.
Yeah.
I am open to all change.
Yeah,
That's me. You know, I'm open to the correct information,
Yeah.
the right and the truth.
Everyone's searching for the truth, like
Yeah.
me. That's what I want to hear, man. That's
So
good.
I'm not putting my eggs in all in one basket.
Yeah.
But I've made observations and I've come to understand personal observations. I'm not here to convince anybody.
Yeah.
You know, you have to go on your own personal journey and do your own research and whatnot. You can embrace this world as it is and carry on like, you know, nothing. That's your choice.
Yeah.
You know, but I believe there's something greater, and because this has opened my eyes up, and it's knocked away a lot of crap. To be quite honest, I've done a lot of house clearing because of this.
Yeah.
All this alien stuff, and you know, all the Star Trek stuff's going out the window, mate.
Used to believe in aliens as well. That's a different conversation.
I believe that the statistics of that being other life forms in a universe and cosmos of this size, there must be one. In the probability. So yes, it's possible. That's what I thought, but now I don't.
Yeah. Okay, tell me something, yeah? Just say one thing to me, yeah? The belief that the Earth is flat, yeah?
Yeah.
Is
Not a ball.
It's not a ball, yeah?
Yeah.
Is increasing around the globe.
Around the plane, yes.
What's got you there? Respect, bro.
You can't get me.
Take it easy.